Hello, hello, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good time. This is Lorenza Evans, and this is It Takes a Village podcast with my co-host Ariana. How you doing today?
Blessed. I pray everyone has had a blessed Saturday.
Yes. It's been a different type of Saturday, but we're gonna still go ahead and we're gonna pull through it. It's been a crazy day thus far. But guess what? We still alive and surviving and kicking, so we ain't complaining.
I always call those adventurous days.
Right. Definitely. So we're gonna have a good time today. Like I said, we had some technical difficulties and all of that, but guess what? We worked through it all. So I'm excited about that, and I'm really excited because the guest we have today, it's just I'm just super extra excited. It's my nephew. It's David Hannah with Skills2NV. He's an electrician. He's a business owner. I mean, you name it, he's it. So definitely gonna have some fun. He can give us some stuff about having a small business, starting out and growing into a large family-owned business. He can tell us about some of the common myths that people have about electrical things, stuff that I never thought about until I started listening to him. So we're gonna have some fun today. So we're getting ready to bring on our guests. If you're ready, here we go here. And there we go. Bam!
There we go.
Man, welcome. How's it going, sir?
It's going great. How's my mic? Everything checking all right?
Yeah, everything's fine.
Good.
Sound
Good.
great.
No, it's going good. No, it's good. It's a Saturday. It is Saturday, right? I think it's Saturday. Yeah. So same crazy week, busy week, good week. So busy is always good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. And here's the thing. When you have someone that you know the struggles that went through to get to where they're at, it hits a little different because a lot of times you see a person and you just know that they have a business and you know that they seem to be doing okay, but it's so much more to it. When you get started, it's just not as easy as you make it look.
It's I guess it's the whole looking at the cup, not in the cup type of scenario. Yeah, we make it look easy, but trust me, it has been very hard. It's been some long nights. It's been some really really long nights. We had plenty of ups, plenty of downs, but it's all come together and it's heading in the right direction. So we're excited about where the company is headed.
And that's good. That's good. Like I say, we're just super excited to have. And this is the thing. You're a young man, and you're already doing things that you want to do. Versus a lot of people wait till they get 45, 50 before they even have an idea where they want to go. And it's like, well, I think I want. I'm like, you might want to get to thinking a little bit more.
Just a little faster. Well, like I said, we as a company, we kind of stumbled into where we are now. I never ever thought that this is where I would be. But like I say, I was hoping that by 45 is what I was shooting for. That's not a reality. I was thinking by 45 I would be fishing, and that's just not reality. But it's hard. It's hard, but we enjoy it. So let's say focusing on the company and where we want to take the company. And like you mentioned in the beginning, being a family owned and family operated company, you gotta, you still have to work, you got to work with your family. It's still, getting everybody, ready and, everybody, the focus, the family itself has to be focused.
I love that you bring in the importance of running a business and the correlation of connecting the family and getting them aligned. For those of our viewers out there in the village, a lot of us are in families, are leading families. So the business mindset is something that should be natural to all of us. And so I would love for you to share with the village some ways that you are able to incorporate some natural things that you do in leading your family and how that was easy for you to move it into the business. And before we do that, highlight for us exactly this beautiful business, this family-owned business, because I know we started giving you that, you know, all-American Renaissance man, you do everything. So I want to take a minute, highlight the business, talk about it some, and then I want to dig into all of the skills and gifts that you've been blessed with, DJ.
Okay. Well, we are a family-owned and operated electrical business in Central Ohio area. We also do work in Cincinnati area, Georgia, some South Carolina, North Carolina. So we have expanded. And as far as, I mean, what all we do? All right. So definitely electrical. General contract. So I always say that it's electrical by trade, and then general contracting was by necessity. I can't remember the exact year, but the housing market just crashed, and no one was really improving things. No one was calling electricians. So I had to say, what else can I do? So I was like, well, you know, I've been blessed to be able to work with my hands. So I started doing some general contracting things. And then, you know, it was hard. Who can I hire? So, I mean, you think about it, if the market is crashing and no one's calling electricians, they're not really, you know, there's a lot of people that was looking for work. So I was like, okay, well, who can I use? Well, I can use my family. So I started, you know, bringing my family in, and we started and teaching your family to do general contracting thing, which, you know, was like, you know, some digging ditches. You know, I had, you know, I got sons, so we can, you know, dig ditches. You know, we were doing, you know, house clean outs. We were, you know, demoing stuff. So, you know, I don't say it was easy, but, you know, I was, you know, blessed. You know, my wife and I have a blended family, so I was blessed to have, you know, some individuals that I could tap into that helped us through, you know, some of those hard times. So, you know, the electrical business, we stay busy with remodels. We stay busy with electrical upgrades to your, you know, panels, lighting systems, so on and so forth. And general contracting, you know, it keeps us, it fills in the gaps. So it's definitely been a blessing, and it's coming up through, you know, after high school. I got with a company that was a all-around general contracting company. So I picked up some skills to where when I finally started doing it on my own, I did have some skills to envy. No pun intended.
Skills to envy, guys. So the beautiful thing about today, our guests, and being able to really tap into all of your knowledge, skills, and just experience is that you bring to the table for us how to take natural skills, turn it into a business, and allow your legacy to profit and benefit and grow from that, even in just the knowledge and the skills that they're gaining. So I'd love, even in your intro to the skills to envy, you really highlighted how you were able to incorporate that. So DJ, that's amazing. Would you say, are there any like daddy skills, leading the family skills that also made it easy for you? Because
I would say it's like herding cats. Have you ever tried to herd cats? It's same concept. You just kind of, you know, find the main cat and see if they can help you. And that main cat just ended up being my wife. So it wasn't a solo effort. But it was fun. It was fun.
And you know, the good thing about it is what I like about a lot of people speak of family and they use it loosely. And now that I've gotten much older, I don't use that word so much because I know that family could be people who are not blood related to me. So when I say family, I speak of people who have a desire to see me do better, people who are not jealous of when I am doing better. So to have a true family net working with you is a major thing. We see, and not so much in our culture, but we see so many people in other cultures that they experience this, and they have these companies, and you see they've been grown for years, and the kids just walk into wealth. So the one thing that I like about this is that people always talk about generational wealth. Generational wealth is not money, it's wisdom. The wisdom of how to get and generate, how to sustain, you know, because you can lead a person with $3-4 million and they don't know how to spend it within 5 years, they worse than when they started, so you're showing them how to grow, how to start a business, how to stick to it, because I know your story, and there have been some times when I'm like, I don't know how he's gonna do that. And I've seen times that even with your business where you would, say, hey, look, I'm gonna have to work, for somebody else for a minute until I can get myself back where I need to be. And I'm like, ooh, you're working the business and you're working for somebody. But now I'm looking at you and I'm like, wow, you're doing it. You're killing the game, as they say.
It's like I say, it's so a lot of people, they see Skills2NV, but there is a backstory to Skills2NV that I'm actually going to share that not a lot of people know. The reason that it's Skills2NV is because this is the second time around. The first time around, it was Skills on Wheels, and it failed. And but I took that failure and I turned it into a lesson. So if anyone would ask me, what did I learn out of that failure? I learned to not fail like that again. But so that's why it's Skills 2. This is our second time around. So I mean, although it may, like you say, it may look like we're making this look easy. No. One of my greatest things that I believe is the ability to fail. This company, or not this particular company, but even with this second phase, this resurrection of the first one, we've had a lot of failures, but we've learned to overcome those failures. We've turned those losses into lessons, and that's how we've been able to continue on. So this is Skills 2. This is the second time around. The first time, as you mentioned, I had to go back to work, and I've had to go back to work a couple times. The market, was up and down. There's many times that we had to lean on, luckily we had a 2-income household. So there's been plenty of time that we had to lean on the other income because the company wasn't, bringing in the money it needed to sustain just our normal day-to-day life. There's been plenty of times that, we've had to go into our own account to keep the business going. And that's just, some people just, I guess they don't see that. They have this notion of entrepreneurship that, you're going to just have all this free time and all this, extra money and all. That's not the case. There have been many of events that, I myself, either I couldn't be at or I slept through because, I just got off from a 23-hour shift. So it's, like I say, but it's a blessing.
It's funny you said it, because I say this and people don't understand it, but you understand it. A lot of people, when they say entrepreneur, they don't see the manure part, they just, and they don't understand it's a lot. It's not that you just wake up and say, hey, I'm gonna be successful, or hey, I'm gonna do this. And I think it was the Wright brothers that said, we've never failed. We just found 1,000 ways not to do it.
Yeah, it's like entrepreneurship. They believe I don't want to have a boss. I'm gonna be my own boss. I am going to be an entrepreneur. And I thought the same way. I'm not knocking anyone, for thinking the way you think or the way you have thought before. I thought the same thing. Oh, I don't like the way they're doing it. I'm gonna do it myself. I'm gonna be my own boss. No, I'm not. I'm not my own boss. I left from having, a boss and a supervisor to I have many bosses. I have more bosses than I have ever had in my life. Every customer is a boss. Every referral is 2 bosses. I got Google. Google is a boss. You get bad ratings on Google. That's a boss. I got Better Business Bureau is a boss. I have more bosses now than I ever thought I would ever have. Oh, you can do what you want to do. Now, yeah, if you don't want to make any money, so no, I have so many bosses now. So if you want to here's the point. If you want to become an entrepreneur, you want more bosses. That's what I've learned.
And it sounds like even within yourself is having to be, a disciplinary or a boss and really implementing the skills and discipline and jumping back into it. So a lot of balls, a lot of hats to wear. But, to whom much is given, much is required. So I love that you continue to bring in the work in this business, the two sides.
It's definitely work.
Yeah. Wow. And that's, I think if more people really knew what business was to sustain the business or to run a business, they will probably have more respect for business owners. They go in like a restaurant or something, and the first thing they do is want to, get mad at the manager. But if the food is not right, you really can't get mad at the manager because the manager is not the cook. He hired the cook hoping that his abilities was where they said it was, or, whatever the case may be. So when you really learn the ins and outs, you realize that even though you're the boss or you're the owner, you still only can control what you can control. Mm-hmm. And then like you get somebody, you invest time in them, or you think, okay, this is the one. And then after they get 2 paychecks, all of a sudden it's, like that thing where they say, hey boss, how much you paying the new guy? You're not worth it.
Yeah. And you gotta start all over. And that's training. It's a constant training. It's constantly education. So it's constantly moving. You can't be a successful business and be stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest things I think that is not discussed amongst business owners and entrepreneurs and contractors, just independent workers, is that flip side of it is making sure that you are able to balance everything and keep everything in line and in order. How do you make sure to have a really good balance with work life, and then even sometimes just the stressors of what things are within your control and without, and which bad reviews to stress about and which ones to allow to pick in the battle or that type of thing?
I don't. I'm still learning, still working on it. Calendar. Keeping a good calendar, and I'm not just talking about work calendar. Keeping a good calendar as far as, and it's going to sound crazy. And the first time I kind of thought of it, I thought it was crazy. You have to schedule things that you normally wouldn't schedule. Schedule date night. Schedule downtime. Schedule time for you to just unplug. You have to put things on. I have a calendar. If you look at my calendar, you like, why? Because I put everything on my calendar. You want to know what I got going on? It's on my calendar. One, because I have to. It's a schedule. I have to schedule, and scheduling is important. Timing is important. People's time is valuable. My time is valuable. So it's. I try to balance it, and but I can't. When you're really, really, really trying to grow a business, trying to balance, like, it just all merges together. It's just one, big pile of time. So the only way I can divide that time is for me to put it on my calendar. I have to schedule everything. I literally, if someone says, hey, you want to do this? Like, give me a second. I gotta look at my calendar. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that, but not just my stuff. What does my wife have going on? What does, do we have something going on with the grandbabies? Do we have something going on, at the school with my daughter? Do we have things going on in college? So we have to keep a good schedule, keep a good calendar. As far as balancing, I would love to give somebody just say, hey, do this and you can balance. No, but you schedule stuff. You set your clock. My clock, my schedule will let me know, hey, it's time for you to go to bed, and if I didn't have it, I look up, I could be, in the office working, and it's 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, oh my goodness, I got to get up in a few, but no. So I schedule time to make sure that I go to bed. I also schedule time to make sure that I get up. See, and it's crazy. So everybody can't do this. I get up at 4 in the morning. The reason I get up at 4 in the morning is because nothing else is up at 4 in the morning. There's no emails going on at 4 in the morning. I can't go to the supply house at 4 in the morning. All I can do is focus on myself and the company. Because by 6, 7 o'clock, my phone is going off. I got emails to answer. I got to run to the supply house to make sure I got the supplies for the guys that's going to be at the truck by 8, because they got to be at the job by 8:45 that starts at 9. So there's no way that I can get up at 7 o'clock and just kind of have my cup of coffee, respond to 2 or 3 emails, and just ease into my day. I wish, and someday this will be my day, but right now, no, I got to get up, I got to get going, and I got to do it before anybody else. So by 6 o'clock, I have done more than most people have done all day, and that's facts.
That's beautiful. That's a kudos to you. Just Village, let's take a minute and dissect this knowledge and skills you said. Because DJ, you said, I wish I could give you a little nugget that gives it to you. And you did. The calendar is so important. I know in one of the businesses I used to work with, they go through a whole training process of like prepping you to manage and stuff. And one of the first things you have to get under grasp is your system. And you've just laid out a beautiful system, utilizing the calendar and really the importance of putting everything on one calendar. So that way life is right there for you. And I don't know if it's a man thing or what, but like scheduling, maybe it's just like getting directions. It's like, no. So I love that you shared with the village how important it is being a leader of making sure you have all of that on a calendar and scheduling all the details, because we all are desiring for our business to grow abundantly. So you don't want to be able to remember it off your head or have it on a notepad. You want it to be so vast and abundant. And so starting with your life and everything that's in that circus of life is a great skill for all of our village out there to really get started if you want to become great managers like DJ. And to give you another kudos, DJ, between like 4 and 6 a.m. is like the ideal time when you are to be in tune and like really wake up with the spirit and really have that one-on-one time. So you gave the village another huge tip and skill of really like taking time to start your day with self-care and making sure you're incorporating that. And so not only are you doing it at the prime time, you are doing it, for yourself at the top of the day. So you're doing an amazing job leading your business, your life, and leading by example. So kudos, DJ.
Thank you. And the thing that's so funny is, I don't know if DJ remember, but I remember once years ago, I had purchased this lawnmower, really expensive lawnmower. And then the reason I bought it fell through. So I said, now I got this lawnmower that can do stuff that I know I'm not going to do. And DJ had a lawn business. So I was like, hey, let's work this deal out. He said, you let me use the lawnmower and I'll cut your grass. So I'm like, okay, cool. It was like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. On a Sunday, I'm like, who is cutting grass? This is in the morning. And it was DJ. He ain't knock on the door. Now he came and I'm like, the door is not even up. The birds are asleep. The rooster even saying, hey, ain't even crowed yet. Why you up so early? But it shows that this is not something that you just wake up doing. It's something he started early in life. And I mean, he was young at the time. I'm like, why is he not asleep? But in my mind then, because I didn't have no thoughts about a business or anything, I didn't understand the importance of that. But things that he's taught me over time, he used to always say, Uncle, if you get ready, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And I used to be like, okay, well, can't you just get up a little early?
He said, yeah. He said, that's cool, but can you just wait a little longer?
But I've seen the struggles and I've seen him getting up and I think the dedication, if you learn that, like the Bible say, if you're faithful over few things, I'll make you ruler over many. So the faithfulness and that is the thing I think that definitely has it just has shown. And I see so many people who I guess they want to be successful, but they don't want to put dedication into it.
It's the work. You just have to put the work in. I mean, it's like anything else. I mean, you think about all the time that professional athletes put into, not just their performance, but, their body to be able to perform at that level. So it's, you got to put in the work. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the preparation. And it doesn't matter, if you're going to be successful at anything, you got to put in the work. And, and the work is preparation.
Yes. DJ, one of our viewers want to ask you, what do you feel is the best part of owning your own business? And then what would you say is one of the hardest parts?
The best part of owning my own business. Actually, you know what? When you were saying that, I didn't have an answer, but it just jumped. The best part of me owning my own business is being able to hire my family. So being able to be a truly family operating business. So like right as we speak now, and if you were to call our phone, even right now, if you were to call our number right now, I don't answer. One of my family members answers. One of my family members takes care of the scheduling. One of them takes care of the finances. Another one takes care of the scheduling. So, and then of course in the field, I have, 3 of us, 4 of us, are in the field. So I think that would be the best part, would be to the ability to hire my family and, make it a truly family owned, family operating business. And the hardest part, scheduling. I think the hardest part, I think I can go back to the scheduling, because I can look up and, like I said, there's many times that it's 4 o'clock in the morning and I could be like, oh man, you can't get up if you don't go to bed. So I think scheduling, definitely making sure that you can balance. And like I said, you brought that up earlier. How do you balance the work and the family? So I would say that would be the hardest, because like I said, you are not your own boss. And if you are going to be successful, there's going to be some sacrifice. And trying to minimize the sacrifices, it's just too hard to do. So, like I said, over the years, I have missed many of the events. But right now, man, I'm getting to see a lot of the events. So, I'm glad that I'm still young enough, and my kids are still, they're all adults, but we're still at a point where we can still do some things. We can still enjoy life. So I made that sacrifice early enough to where now, we're seeing the fruits of the labor. And we got grandbabies. So that was cool too.
Yeah. And it's so good. And I think what I want, and I thank Aaron for that question, but what I want people to hear, and maybe because I'm older, it's hard for them to hear it from me. But if you do the work when you're young enough, as you get older, you can still enjoy, your family. I know people who are in their 70s and their 80s, and they still getting up going to work. And I'm like, at that age, where do you find time to live?
It's like you said, it's that preparing while we're young for that when we're old. We can't prepare in this season for this season. You have to prep in this season for the season to come. And that's kind of that. Well, I don't say that's kind of, that's what we've done. It wasn't on purpose. We didn't know that this, what we were doing. We didn't know that preparation, all that hard work and everything. We just, it was a means to an end at that time. I had family to feed, so the time that we were putting in, we didn't see this, this, I don't even know where this came from. I know how it got here, and I can sit there and I can track it, but it's man. So it's been a journey.
Yes, and I think that a lot of people have the desire to be business owners. A lot of people have even have the skills to have a business, but they don't have the dedication that it takes. And like me and you was discussing a while back, a lot of people want more, but they don't understand that when you get more, you get more. You want the promotion more. Yeah, it's more responsibilities. You want that bigger house, it's more bills. You want that company to grow and say, okay, let's go from a storefront to a bigger. Well, now you got a bigger rent, you got bigger lease or whatever. So a lot of people just don't understand the process, and they get discouraged because they begin to move up and things get harder. It's like, well, you're growing.
It's supposed to be harder.
Right. And so, I like that you're explaining to them and you're saying, hey, we were just doing what needed to be done and realize, oh, that's the way you're supposed to do it. And I think this is because I know you, I've seen you, I know that the favor of God is on your life
Yes,
because
absolutely.
I have seen you say and do things that I was like, and that was at a point before I got to where I'm at now, where I would say, yeah, he know God better than I do. Because he handled
Yeah.
things in a godly way, and I think that's what prepped him to be where he's at now, because he's followed the steps of God and he's allowed God to nurture him and he's allowed his life to be a reflection of that. So you can't have a regular life and expect to have a successful business. It.
No, and full disclosure, it didn't start off the way it is now. What you're looking at was not, it was some raggedy within it. So, and as you said that, it came a time to where, like you said, both cannot exist. Both cannot, you can't straddle the fence and expect to be successful. So, some things, have to go. Some things had to fall away, and had to some seasons had to pass. That's the best. That's about the best way I could put it. Some seasons had to pass, and as those seasons pass, now I can see it.
Right.
Had to get some clarity. So now that I'm clear, I can see it.
Right, because I can see clearly now that the rain.
I can see clearly now.
And a lot of people bring that rain on themselves because they don't prepare right. They don't. A lot of people have visions, but they don't understand their vision. They don't want to take time to learn their craft. And I know, like I said, for you to be an electrician, that's not something that you just wake up one morning and say you want to do.
No, not at all. I actually, and I stumble through this story all the time, but I lied to get into the electrical business. I was doing something completely different, and I just wasn't making enough money. I seen, this was 90. It might have been 2000. I think it was like the year 2000. And, I had been doing some things that was kind of electrical, but it really wasn't electrical. And I was like, man, I need to make more money because more means more. So I seen an ad in the paper, and the ad was, for electricians. I was like, well, I've twisted a few wires. I was like, I'm an electrician. So I went in for the interview, and it was like for $16 an hour. I mean, in 2000 for $16 an hour, I was like, man, I got to see if I can get this job. So I went in and basically just lied my way through the whole interview, and I knew just enough to where, I got hired on. And before they realized that I wasn't an electrician, I was one. And that's how I became an electrician. And that was 23 years ago.
Wow. But even with that, if you think about it, you had to have the innate ability to learn on the job.
Yes.
And you had to have the capacity to have enough, even though you like I said, you may not have been an electrician, but you knew enough about electric to go in and like you say, fake it till you make it. I've seen some
even the fact that you honed in on the craft on the job training, it's still taking the time to perfect it.
Yes, and it was like I said, the company that I worked for, that I had got some of the skills when I was hired on. They hired me on to dig ditches, but the guy I started working with, he's like, I don't need someone who can just sit there and handle a shovel. I need a thinker. I need someone who can help me on the job. So he started giving me some things to do on the job other than digging ditches. And then finally it's like, well, hold on, this guy is pretty smart. So then they started sending me through some training to do some programming of some of the equipment and stuff that they installed. And, so that's why, like you said, I had the confidence that I could go in there and I could say just enough that, this wire should do that, and this means that, and just enough to get through the interview. And, then God took the wheel from there.
Yes. Now, didn't you get a license at the company you was with previously when you was learning that a lot of people did not have?
Yes, and coming in as a young black male in that industry, that was not just a, I don't want to, wasn't just a knucklehead, wasn't just a run of the mill, give me a shovel, let me go ahead. And, I've always wanted more. So, yes, so I ended up getting the license to be an underground storage tank installer. And to install those tanks, there came some programming. There was wiring involved for the pumps and motors, so on and so forth. So that's when I started working with electrical. So 2000 is when I got my first electrical job, but it was 95 is when I first started working with electrical. And it was a small family-owned business, and it was good. It was good for me, and that's where it all started.
And what I want the village to understand is that, first of all, you spoke about 2000 and up, but they don't realize that 95 to 2000 you was doing stuff, and you now have a family-owned business that you've seen other people do. So you
Yes.
knew it could be done. So while you was learning your skill to be an electrician, you also was taking in the knowledge to be a family-owned business.
Yes. Yes. The mother worked in the office. The daughter, worked in the office. The sons were supervisors. The dad ran the company. So I guess now that you mention it, yeah, yeah, I never really thought about it, but no, it's almost the same.
Mm-hmm.
Good point there. I never thought about that.
I've heard this said amongst go-getters, entrepreneurs, and especially those who have been able to elevate in their field or area is, like Papa Zell will say, dress for the job you want. And it's funny, I heard a lady at the store today saying that. And just like you being aware of you wanting more, so you looked for those opportunities of more and was able to soak in so much for where you were presently. And so Village, to really make sure we highlight and really soak up this entrepreneurial spirit, where you are is the perfect place to start. Like DJ shared with us, it could be ratchetly chaotic, and there are skills and practice and development that you can begin to implement to change the course of how you present yourself, how you manage your critical thinking, and just how you soak up the skills and make yourself available to be trained and learn. And so I wanted to highlight and remind everybody of that. Don't be scared to jump in. And another skill or a thought process is, what do I do right now that's amazing and great? And like DJ was able to soak up an interest and a curiosity and really expand it from a spark of an idea to a whole family business. So really, Village, start thinking about, what do I do that's great, and what is right here presently in front of me to step into that, moving me towards that goal. And so DJ, I really thank you for continuing to remind us of how the path continued to, wherever it started, it continued to align into your vision. So
Preparation.
When did you know in this process, like exactly your your endpoint, your goal? Like, when did you narrow in on what it was you wanted to do?
Oh man, when did I narrow that down to actually doing a family-owned business, or how I wanted to be? I don't know when. Let's see, it almost happened. We looked up and it was almost happening. When I was working for a company as an electrician, once I got through that interview, which I thought was a terrible one, but I guess they were desperate enough, so I got in the door. But I was an electrician, so I was working as an electrician, but family was growing, things were growing, more still means more. So I still needed more. Times were changing, I still needed more. So I started doing it on the side. Some people call it moonlighting. Some people call it, what I call it, my day never stopped. I get off working for someone, and then I started working for myself. And I did that for a while. And before I knew it, I was making more after hours than I was making during normal, when I was working for someone else. So that's when it came, I was like, well, something has to change. If I'm making more here, then I need to stop doing this. So that's where the transition happened. It was, I was like, okay, I need to stop working for them. I need to work for myself. And this is a side note, but I went into this homeowner, to this business owner. And I'd been working for him, busting tail for him for the last 5 years. And, it was just, like I say, it was hard work. I'm supervising for him because by that time I had the skills to, be a supervisor. So this is after the first company. I was with the first company, then I went with this company as a supervisor. And, so now I hit that point that I was just speaking of, where I was making more in the evening than I was during the day. And I went to him and, an older business owner, family-owned business. And I said to him, I said, look, I want to put in, a 30-day notice. I want to put in a 30-day notice because I'm at a point, in my career where I want to try to do this myself. And he looked me right in the face. He never stood up. I remember this like it was yesterday. He looked me right in the face. He wouldn't even shake my hand. And he said, you are now in the competition. And I stood up and I told him, you're darn right. That was the last time I worked for somebody else. Mm-hmm. And that was the turning point for me.
Wow.
And hold up. Let me put a pin there. I say I never worked for anyone else, but like I say, when the company got to that point and I had to go back to work, because I did work for someone else for a couple of years because, well, we had to eat. Mm-hmm. So let me
able to pivot and adjust. It'll keep the business going. So
yes. So we had to put a pause in the business, and then, but we brought it back better and bigger and stronger.
But you missed a very important point of what you said. So let me explain to you. You said after that you never worked for anyone else, correct?
I did say that.
Okay, and you were right, because when you went back to work, you didn't go back to work for somebody else. You went back to work to sustain what you was doing till you could continue what you had started.
Okay, pit stop.
So yeah, right.
Yes.
So definitely, but it's just and see, that shows wisdom, because so many people are too humble to step aside until they self-correct. They got to just keep on grinding, and I'm like, okay, you're getting further and further away. At some point, you got to get back, refocus, and come back. So that right there shows wisdom. So I'm gonna ask you this question: what is a common myth about your job or field of expertise that a lot of people have?
Common myth. I think I would almost go back to the whole, being your own boss. The whole, it gets easier in your field. The whole entrepreneurship is easy. That would be a common myth to me, that they feel like, or I don't. Everyone doesn't feel this way. Maybe I say they lack the an acknowledgement of becoming an entrepreneur. It's so hard. So they think that I'm gonna stop. I don't want to work for anyone. So I don't want a boss. So I'm going to be my own boss. And you're not. So I think that would be the biggest common myth to what I do. And it's not really just being an electrician, just being a business owner, just being, it wouldn't matter what the business was. You're not your own boss. So I think that would be the biggest. And I thought the same thing. Full disclosure, I thought the same exact thing. I'm gonna be my own boss. No, I'm not my own boss. To this day, I'm not my own boss. So I think that would be the biggest common myth that I would see.
And now, do you think, because I know for me, when I was coming up and I was a young kid, they said, one of the fields that you should be is a fireman or electrician. And I said, y'all definitely 100% absolutely incorrect. I said, they ain't putting out no fires I didn't start.
I didn't start that.
And I think that had I had the right push or mindset, one of those may have been something that I may have been great at. I don't know. But I say for you to walk into something that shows that your destiny was planned, because you say, it just kind of happened, this happened. That's how you was going with the flow. and you wasn't resistant to change. Because I've seen
I
people
can
where
agree with that.
they hate what they do, they're miserable, and they're not that good at it anyway. So I'm like, so why not try something different? I think even for me, because I've been in banking for over, well, probably I'll say over 35, 40 years, something like that. And I kind of stumbled into it. It wasn't something, I mean, mentally I wanted to do stuff where I could dress up and everything, but I was working for as a cook, didn't like it at all. I mean, there was nothing about cooking. So I said, I'll tell y'all what I said. I'll stay over here washing these dishes because that's cool. I ain't messing with the heat and all of that. And then my brother David said, well, I know a person who want to hire us to do some side work or whatever. So we quit, started working for this guy, and come to find out that he was hiding for everybody. People come into business and he would run in the back hiding. Say, and I'm like, okay, so that right there gave me the thought, like, okay, I never really want to have a business because I don't want to live like this, because I didn't know
Not like that.
that was not the norm. And then when he sent us out on a job that endangered our life, I said, David, I'm quitting. I said, call him, let him know this is where he can pick up his truck, and this is quit. And I said, I'm done with it. You can go back if you want to, but I'm done. And then I went, and a friend of mine was telling me about a job at the bank. And once I went in there, I said, yeah, this is me. Because even where you started out working, I put an application in at Dixon's. I was supposed to work there. And then the first they said, well, in the wintertime, I said, so what do y'all do? Well, we go outside and work. I said, no, I'm talking about in the winter when it's snowing. And then we work out, and I ripped my application up right there. I said, okay,
not for me.
Right.
We talk about knowing your skill and what you do great. Know what you don't do.
Know what you don't do. Yeah, I say a lot of times that I may not be able to tell you all the things to do to become a successful business owner, but I tell you what, I got a list of things you shouldn't do. I got that list. So I look over at that list a lot. Like, you did that once. Don't do that again. So no, I can give you a lot of what not to do.
Yeah, because it's a lot out there, and I know. Like I said, I've seen the work that you do, and I'm like, my head hurt just looking at all the wires and the stuff, and because I had to do something, and I was like, okay, you're not gonna turn the electric off? You're like, no. I'm like, I said, but you're getting ready to work with electricity. And he was like, I know. And I'm like, okay. And he, I'm standing back away from him because I'm like, I don't want to be too close because if something happens, I can't pull you away, But I guess just seeing him do what he does is to me, it's like magic, because I'm like, you got all these different wires. You got to know this wire, and this wire connects to this. And if you touch this wire while it's plugged up, that's your last time doing that. You don't get do-overs when you're messing with electric. So it's a lot to that. It's not like you just do it. And I've seen people say, won't you do it yourself? No. But I think a garbage disposal in once, and I called him and he walked me through it. And I was
heard stories about non-electricians trying to do some electrical.
Yeah, it usually ends not great, to say the least. Yes.
It could be scary too. I think for me, when we talk about electricity, from the stories I've heard, messing with those wires, it makes me think of the shows when the bomb is trying to be, and so leads the question. So for me, it's terrifying. So Linda asked a great question. DJ, how hard was it teaching your son to be an electrician? Like getting others to take on those skill sets?
So what I would say to that is education. Educating yourself helps you educate others. So since I myself am very knowledgeable, it wasn't that hard to teach, and not just him, but anyone that's willing to learn. You have to have a willing participant. Now, in no means did he ever want to be an electrician. But also, even as close as he, was to the business, he also had this idea of, because even though he was with the cup, he still wasn't looking in the cup. He was still looking at the cup. He's still seeing that, where we lived, how we lived, what we drove, so he's seen those things. So then he became a willing participant. And he in particular has always been one of those critical thinking people. He likes to know how things work. He wants to know why it doesn't work. But there's sometimes I'm like, dude, just look, we can cover that later. Right now, I just need you to do this, this, and this. And he was like, yeah, but why am I doing this, this, and this? I'm like, oh, we don't have time for that. But so first off, him being a willing participant, it wasn't that difficult. He actually picked up on it quicker than I thought he would. So it wasn't hard. I had the knowledge, but the education part. So, reading, making sure that, he had the training. So, I've sent him the training. He's done some online training, making sure that he's up to the codes that we do. So, he is just a sponge because, he wants to know. So he wants to learn. And he can see the vision, so if he didn't see the vision, then, none of this would work. So the fact that he sees the vision, and his vision is not my vision. His vision is actually, I'm at the point now that, my vision, I'm just kind of, let's just kind of take this down a little bit. And he's like, no, let's go. And I'm like, whoa. I said, well, just hold on. I'm going to give you the reins here in a little bit. But right now, let's just kind of, so his vision is different, but he has his own vision and he's willing to work. He's put in the work. So, one, being a willing participant, and see the other one, just, he's not afraid of the hard work. And, of course, he's seen hard work. And, even when, it was back when I would pick him up from school and, I get off work, pick him up from school, and then he would be doing his homework, in the van while, I was, doing work. And then when he was done, he would come out there and then he would help me do work. So since he was 4 or 5 years old, he has seen this. He didn't know. And then I didn't know, at that point, it was just like, hey, I got 2 jobs and I got to pick you up while I do one of them. And now that you're done with your schoolwork, I need you to help me pick this up, pick that up. So, actually he was a little easier than maybe most.
I like it. And the dynamics of, building a business is being able to adjust to different employee types, mindsets, and getting them to where you want them to be. So I love that you've reminded us in developing your family and your legacy into the family business really allows you to get that practice and teaching and training different types of people. So excellent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think there's no better, or I think it's such a great thing as a father to see your son following in your footsteps, or to see him learning from your mistakes, and to see that there's something not only to leave to them, but they have an understanding of it. There's nothing worse than leaving something to somebody and they don't know what they've been left with, so they squandered or whatever. So, me and Greta, we talk about it all the time, how, whenever we see the work y'all have done or that you do, we're just so proud of you too, because I guess because in today's society, we see so few father and son that have that type of relationship where they can work together, and just working with a stranger can be difficult, but to have the relationship where you can work together and separate business from personal and make it work.
Yes.
Yes.
And yeah. Yeah.
I just knew when you got the question, the best part about a family business and the hardest part are the business, and you were like, family's the best part and the hardest part is family.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
Yes. Yes, but it's the and the way that I approach it, the whole how do you eat an elephant, and the Bishop T.D. Jakes, one of his sermons, he was talking about the dime, and he was talking about how you know everyone wants all of this, the big things, but you have to look at, if you think about a dollar is nothing but 10 dimes. $1 million is just a bunch of dimes. So if you work on the small things, and just keep building up the small things, then the big, you'll look up and it'll be big all by itself. But it's just, so I focus on the dimes, and the dimes, they take care of the dollars, so on and so forth. So it's just just instead of trying to do it all, just focus on the small things, focus on the dimes, and that's what I do. I focus on the dimes.
I love it. And in today's full show, you really showed us how you did. And a lot of times you're like, I don't know when we got to this point. I don't even know how we flew into this, or I don't know how we got to training in for so many years. And I love how you bring it back full circle to us of being able to take it bite-sized pieces, start scheduling your day. And you also, I don't know if you realize, DJ, the manifestation power that you have been stepping into speaking life, by telling yourself how your day is going to go, by taking the time to tell the family what the vision is. All of that is you stepping into, your God-given rights, skills, talents, and gifts, and adding that extra juice to your vision and your purpose. So
you have to write it down. You have to write your vision down and make it plain. Absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
Write your vision down.
And it's so true. And I taught on that this morning, that you, in order for your vision to work, you have to have a vision that's so powerful that people can see and believe in your vision. Because people not gonna follow you if you don't trust your vision. It's
you definitely have to be decisive. You have to be decisive, and you have to be deliberate.
Yes, it is. Whew. But I think to be an electrician, though, that within itself is so many things. And like you said, people think about their stuff that they do, like you were saying. You turn off your electric and leave, but things are still working behind the scenes.
Oh, absolutely. It's the hardest working part of your home. It's the if you're talking about plumbing, your plumbing, if you're not requesting anything, if you're not flushing any toilets or asking for any water or whatever, it's not doing anything. But yes, your electrical is the hardest working part of your home, and I would even venture to say our life, even with now everything's they're going to electrical cars. We're still talking about electrical. We're trying to get off the grid and go solar. It's still a form of electricity. It's solar electric, but it's still, our solar power. It's still, it's still in essence, it's still electricity. It's just, a different type. It's still, stored differently, and but it's still, so it's the hardest working thing. And, that's what our company is. Our company is the hardest working company, and that's what we stand on.
And that's what
I love it.
Yeah, that's why it makes it so important that you have the right person working on your electrical costs. I remember once I had an electrical problem, so I said, well, instead of paying an electrician, I will have somebody that knew about electric. So after they fixed it, every time I cut my fan on, my light would blink. And I'm like, wait a minute, these switches are not even connected. Why is that happening? But and so I learned that. I said, no, we gonna pay somebody who know what they're doing, who got a certificate, because that electric can cause a whole lot of major problems if it's not correctly done.
Yes, absolutely. It's like I say, it's the small things, and just little things like like you were saying, why is I'm doing this, but it's not doing what I wanted to do, and like I say, it could be a major issue, and I don't like to scare anyone. I just like to make them aware that small electrical issues turn into big house fires.
Yes. Yes, and we cause that's what I said. It was funny because I was every time we would plug up my Christmas stuff, my lights, everything just kept blowing and blowing, and so finally I was like, well, it's probably just something simple on mobile. So I called DJ. I was like, dude, look, he said, well, try this, and I called him back. I said, DJ, it just keep blowing, and I started telling him what was hooked up. And he said, Uncle, your house is not wired to carry that.
It's not wired for that.
We should have had a picture of the Christmas decorations so the village understood the magnitude of what he was trying to plug in.
Yeah.
Oh, he has a picture. So visit his Facebook later and put that picture up of what we had to deal with. He said, hey, when I plug this up, it keeps tripping the breaker. And then when he told me what he was plugging up, I'm like, yes, it's tripping the breaker.
and it was and let me say this, because I remember thinking that I was like, man, we got to get this fixed, because the problem, and what I want people to hear most of all, was that we had let it go so long, because I just kept hitting that reset button, that he was like, what's going to happen, that eventually if you keep hitting that button, it's going to start reminding you. And when it starts reminding you, the next reminder is a fire.
Yes.
So when you start having the small problems with the electrical, you don't want to just keep hitting reset, because that are for little minor things that happen. But when it's happening on a regular basis 2 or 3 times a day, something ain't right.
Yes. So your breakers are designed to, for lack of better wording, designed to tell you that something's wrong. So if that breaker is cutting off, it's actually doing its job. And then if you're cutting it back on, you're telling it that it don't know what it's doing. And it cut itself back off and say, yes, I do. Then you cut it on. Then after a while, it just starts believing like, okay, well, maybe I don't know what I'm doing. And it stays on. And, then the end result could be catastrophic. Catastrophic.
Yeah, that's
there's oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
One of the questions presented, thank you, Aaron, for sharing your question. The biggest dream for your future business. I know you shared, you have a vision, and then as the legacy continues to add to it, they add to the vision too. So what is your big dream of where you see the business going, and or incorporating other family members' vision? Where do you see it going?
My biggest dream for our family-owned and family-operated business is to employ my entire family. Now, of course, I have a large family. My grandmother and grandfather was at a time when I guess having babies was just the thing. So from that, the tree is, has a lot of branches. So when I speak of, my entire family, I want to start with my core family first and then expand out. So my main goal, and by the end of 2024, I believe that I will have it. Nope, I'm going to speak that into existence. I will have that accomplished, is to have my entire core family working for the business, and my business feeding not only my core family, but our next generation and the next generation. As I spoke of that, we have 4 grandbabies now. So with our 5 kids and our 4 grandbabies, at this time, I want to, that would be my biggest goal, is to have, all of them employed. And then my wife and I can, ease to the side, and then we can, watch the complete fruit of our labor. So I think that would be my goal, my dream. That's what's going to happen by the end of 2024. We're real close. Things are growing. Things are moving in that direction. There's been long times that I never thought it was going to happen. But what I didn't understand is it wasn't happening in my time. Which, it took me a while to understand also that it's not my time. It's not, when I want it to happen. So 2024, that's the year. Got just a few left, and we will be right where we want to be. So that's my goal.
Excellent.
Yes,
That's beautiful.
yes. And it's so amazing because only because I've seen where you came from and I know what you're capable of doing, I don't have any doubts that dream will come to pass. None at all. Because faith without works is dead. You've done the work, you've hit the faith, and God has to honor his part. And
Absolutely.
to want and see, and this is something and I key into many people. We have a lot of guests, some have business, some have different things, but when I hear people speak of the blessings they want, not so much for themselves but to share with others, see, that's what motivates God, because you're saying I want to hire my whole family. You're saying I want to make sure that we all come to the table and that we all eat. When you have that, that's an unselfish spirit. You want to give, and the Bible says when you give, it be given back to you. And just knowing that, um, that's part of your blessing. That's why you can walk in favor, because you are not selfish and you're doing things with the right motive. A lot of times, people even say, I've been acting for this and acting for that, and God ain't answering me. And the Bible said a lot of times because you're acting for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
So I like that. But we do have another question. Hold on here.
For all the right reasons, while she has an experienced technician on the line.
Yes.
It's an excellent question from Miss Sharita.
Mm.
And it is, for those of us that are renting our home, we're not owning, but we want to make sure we are taking the steps to make sure we're being careful with our electrical care. What do you suggest we do as far as being connecting with the company, booking with your company, and or tips for renters in protecting the home?
The easiest part is you can visit our website, which is Skills2NV.com, which is SKILLS, the number 2, the letters NV, Nancy Victor.com. So Skills2NV.com, you can visit our website and it will walk you through, go up to scheduling, and it will pull up a calendar, and it's easy. If you want an estimate, then you just click on estimate, find a time that works for you. If you already know what you want and you say, look, I know I need a light install, there's also a tab on there that you can just click install. And when you click install, same thing, find a time that works for you, and we'll come out there and take care of it. We have safety checks. So if you like us to come out there, you can send us a message. You can always message us. You can send us emails. So through the website, you can message us, or you can just email us at oneskills2nv@gmail.com. And, just send us the email, say, hey, I'm looking, and you can call us 614-5960-458, and I'll talk you through it. I have no problem answering questions. I have no problem. If you're saying, look, this is going on, there's been many a time that I'll talk a customer through, or a potential customer through a situation, and they'll fix it themselves. Simple as resetting a breaker or resetting, one of their outlets, their GFCIs. So I don't even have to go out there. Some people say, well, man, you missed out on money. No, I didn't. Because when they think of it again, they'll call me again, or, they'll refer me, which I said I get 2 more bosses on every referral. So I gain more bosses from me, just one, from us answering the phone. Answer the phone. There's many times you say, I'll call, no one answers. Well, you don't have that issue with us. Like I said, you can call us right now while I am talking with you, and someone else will answer the phone. So that is the easiest way. Our website, it's set up to, and on the website, it'll give you a snapshot of our family. It'll give you a snapshot of, what we do. Thank you, Aaron. It will give us a snapshot of, some of the pictures, some of the customer reviews. So I think that would be the easiest way to get in touch with us, and to have us come out there and take a look at what you have going on. And like I say, we are definitely here to help.
Right. And I want to say this too, because it's when I listen to you and you speaking of the assistance and help, it's the village, mentality, that when you speak, you speaking of what it means to have a village. And I just want to point out, even while we're doing this, like, Linda Bell, that's my sister, his aunt. So we have family. Eric is his cousin, which is, my nephew. So Sharita, that's his cousin. That's my niece. So, the village concept is in for effect today. So I just wanted that to be known. We have family. And part of our
we here no.
right. Yeah, and Aaron David is adopted into the village because if there's information that need to put out, she's going to do it. She usually gets to the podcast before we do. And so we always want to acknowledge her because she's very, very beneficial. She makes sure that she speaks to everyone, welcomes everybody, and have questions and answers and stuff. So if she can get to your information and we're doing a podcast, it's going to be up there. So I just want to definitely let that be known as well, because we appreciate people when they assist us, and it just makes our job so much easier. But you're doing such a wonderful job at life. To be a young man in our culture, to be something we can look up to. You see, a lot of people say that, well, I don't have a role model in my family, or I don't have a this. Well, the role model does not have to be in your home. They just need to be in your neighborhood, in your village. And you are the role model to many people in many villages, whether you know it or not. The good thing about a role model, a real role model don't always know that they are a role model. So
I appreciate that.
And we're glad that you took time out of your busy schedule, because like I say, I know you. I know. So even when he came down from we're in Atlanta, Georgia. He's came from Ohio. And he came to Ohio, then he had to go to South Carolina, and he called and said, well, I'll be here such and such time. And he was early, and I'm like, hold up. Those people that are still right here in the state, and they're an hour late,
Mm-hmm.
And but he, definitely if you want something done, when we say Skills2NV, even though that's the name of the company, he definitely have skills that most people envy, because he's true to his craft. He's not new to this. He's true to this. And I want anyone that within the area, if you need, if you in Ohio and you need work or whatever, definitely. And he don't just do electrical. I mean, we don't have that much time to explain all the but yes, Skills2NV, definitely visit the website. Definitely make sure that this is the guy you want to ask questions to, because he's going to answer you and give you the questions, and he's going to quote you for what need to be done and not what they want to do. Because most companies going to tell you what they want to do, but in most cases, probably I'll say 30 to 40% of what they want to do is nothing close to what you need. But if you don't know what you don't know.
Absolutely.
So you want somebody that's true and honest, that's going to help you to, to be honest with you. Like you said, if he can answer the question, he's making more money by not making you spend money that you don't need to spend. So when you do need to spend it, it's like, that's where I want to go. So
remind everyone out there, even if you don't have a current electrical concern, but want to be proactive and begin being great leaders and managers of your home, reach out. The website is still posted, and there are checks and check-ins that can be done with your electrical. And David and his team would be happy to support you in all your questions and goals.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely. So you gave all the information how people can get in touch with you if they need to. Is there anything else that you want to share that we haven't asked you about?
Yes. I would say if I wanted to leave this with anything, I would leave it with valuing time, valuing your time, we value our customers' time. That's why one of the things that you'll hear me often say that we're early. I'll have customers call and say, "Hey, we see you guys sitting outside. Just want to let you know that you're good to come in." And and I was like, "Well, let me call the guys," because early to us is on time. If we show up on time, we're late. So if I had to leave with anything, I would say that value your time. We value your time. And just, time is, you can't get it back. Time is very valuable. So that's what we like to do. And we build our company on the 3 E's, being effective, which is just basically, the intended goal, being efficient, which goes back to this timing. We show up early. And so, I'm not showing up on time, then I start figuring out what has to go on. No, we show up early. We have that already figured out, and let's get to work and let's get this taken care of, and then doing extra. So, the extra things, the little things, cleaning up, being polite, being on time, being early. These are things, these are extra things. We have customers all the time say, oh no, you don't have to do that. Yes, we do. That is part of our company. That is part of our 3 E's that our company is built on, it stands on. So, we are efficient, we're effective, and we do all the extra stuff. So that is, that's what I would leave them with, is the 3 E's. That's our company.
Definitely. Well, I'm like Linda said, we're proud of you. We love you. For our family, you're one of the ones that stand out. You and Eric and all of them, and different ones that are in certain businesses and things like that. And I mean, we have so many of them. Like I said, we had to have a whole show with all of them to try to get touch on all of them. But we definitely want to say we thank you for what you do for the village. We thank you not only for being a good business owner, but a good father, a good family, and structurally sound in everything that you do, and transparent to say that, hey, I didn't start it this way and I accidentally fell into some things, but the end result is that you followed the steps that God had for you. And even though you didn't understand everything, God had a path for your life. And if you follow the light of God, you will all end up in the path where God wants you to. It may be bumpy, it may be some detours, but you will get there if you hang on. So we thank you. And if anyone is watching this, make sure that they reach out to Skills2NV, and whatever your electrical needs may be, or other needs. Don't think that it's just electric, but call him and he can tell you what his limits are. So we put no limits on Skills2NV because I don't think they have any. So when you have them, you know who to contact to make sure. So
just remember, skills aren't skills unless they're Skills2NV.
That's it. All right, sir. We're getting ready to sign off. Hang out in the back for a minute. We're gonna take you off screen and end this show, and then we'll get with you.
Will do. Love you guys. Thank you.
All right. Love you. Thanks. All right, Ariana, we're getting ready to sign off. This has been really, really good, and I'm just thankful and glad for all the information we received. And we also want to thank David Hannah with Skills2NV to know that there are people out there doing a job with integrity, which is something that we don't see a lot in today's time.
Like a unicorn. They say you can't get good pricing, good quality, and good service. It's like in the triangle, you got to lose one of them. You only can get 2 out of the 3. And these skills are to envy because it sounds like you're getting it all. You get the service, you get the care, you get the good pricing, and the knowledge and expertise. So make sure you guys really take time to reach out whenever you have a question or electrical need or anything in your home. You see that DJ and his family are there to help you and yours.
Right, definitely. So, Village, we thank each and every one of you for tuning in. We'll be back again in a couple of weeks, and we'll have another great show. But we just want to thank you for your time. Remember, a village is we bring back the village concept, and remember that we can do so many things together. Together, we stand, and division is not an option. So we know what we can do, and we're going to continue to do what we do, continue to come out here and showcase these people who have these great talents. Again, we thank each and every one of you. We hope that you have a blessed day, and we will see y'all next week. You have any closing words, Ariana?
Just have a blessed week, and make sure to take time, like DJ does, in the morning and get your self-care on.
All right. Thank you, y'all. Have a good day.